Inwarata no Sahai is still my amiable name. And the definition of emotional intelligence from across the board perspective is that emotional intelligence is being smart with managing your emotions and being smart with managing the emotions of other people. Now, when you situate emotional intelligence in the workplace, the definition will have a little adjustment, and that adjustment is that emotional intelligence is the ability to achieve workplace emotional stability with the knowledge of how to manage your emotion as a leader, and also the knowledge of how to manage the emotion of your people. And since the beginning of 2026, we have been looking at driving workplace productivity with emotional intelligence, and we have been doing that from a case scenario perspective. And the 5 pillars of emotional intelligence, the 5 components, as some other schools of thought will call it, is self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. And since the last 2 weeks, we have used 2 different case scenarios to learn about the foundational pillars of emotional intelligence, which is self-awareness and self-regulation. And today, we are also going to learn about self-awareness and self-regulation using just 1 case scenario that encapsulates and integrates, the 2 key pillars of emotional intelligence, which is self-awareness and self-regulation. Remember, self-awareness is having a deep understanding of your emotions, strengths, and weaknesses, and how they affect your behavior, how they affect workplace outcomes, and also how they affect other people, the people that are working with you. In other words, self-awareness is recognizing your emotional triggers and how they affect outcomes. Self-regulation, on the other hand, is the ability to control or redirect disruptive impulses so as to adapt behaviors for optimal result. Self-regulation is the ability to lead and manage oneself for better outcome. And so we are going to be looking at a case scenario in the Nigerian State Ministry of Finance, to look at self-awareness and self-regulation. And I'm just going to go through, this case scenario, just like I've done this in the last 2 weeks, so that we can glean out, this knowledge of, emotional intelligence as it regards its foundational pillars, which are self-awareness and self-regulation. Remember, self-awareness is having a deep understanding of your emotions, of your strengths and weaknesses, and how they generally affect outcomes, where self-regulation is the ability to control your disruptive emotions and channel behavior properly to achieve optimal results. Now, this is the case scenario of the Nigerian State Ministry of Finance, and the case scenario goes talks. In the Nigerian State Ministry of Finance, salary payments are due within 48 hours when an internal audit report leaked to the media alleges irregularities in salary payments and delayed remittance of statutory deductions. The report sparked public criticism on social media. Labor unions threaten protests, the governor demands explanations, and tension rises among senior staff. An emergency management meeting is called. Then, as soon as that emergency management meeting is called, self-awareness started playing out. So we are going to see it, as we just move to the next level of the case scenario. Emotional intelligence in action here, with a focus on self-awareness in action. Before the meeting, the Commissioner for Finance notices feelings of anger about the leak, fear of political consequences, and the urge to blame senior office officials. Now, that's his emotional awareness. The Commissioner of Finance noticing that feeling of anger, noticing that fear of political consequences, and the urge to blame senior officials. The story continues. He consciously acknowledges these emotions and realizes that reacting impulsively could worsen the crisis. This awareness helps him pause and prepare for a more constructive response. Now, that is the essence of the knowledge of self-awareness, where you realize that reacting impulsively, is going to negatively affect outcome, is going to worsen crisis, and then you just draw back, you hold back. And that is exactly what the Commissioner of Finance in this case scenario did. Then we move to the self-regulation in action part. At the meeting, the Commissioner speaks calmly, stressing the need to remain composed, verify facts, and resolve the issue professionally. That is self-regulation. His calm tone and controlled body language reduced anxiety among staff and create a safe environment for open discussion. That is what self-regulation will do for you. If you are able to hold back, you are able to regulate your behavior, if you are able to control your impulsive impulses, you know, what you are going to see is that people that you are working with, even in a crisis situation, will open up to, you know, to just actually say things the way they are. So we are going to see self-awareness and self-regulation, you know, how it helped in ensuring that, you know, facts emerge about how the situation actually is. With the permanent secretary moderating discussions, key findings emerge. One, the director of accounts explains that payroll delays resulted from mismatched data from MDAs. Two, the director of treasury confirms deductions were temporarily withheld pending reconciliation. Three, the director of budget acknowledges poor interdepartmental coordination. Now, because blame is avoided, officers spoke honestly and accepted responsibility. It all started with the Commissioner of Finance, you know, imbibing the pillar of emotional intelligence, which is self-awareness and self-regulation. At the end of the day, he was able to glean facts that resulted to that situation. Now, after reviewing the facts, the Commissioner issues clear corrective actions. One, immediate reconciliation of payroll and statutory deductions. Two, release of verified salary payment within an agreed timeline. Three, creation of joint payroll monitoring team. Four, transparent engagement with labor unions. Five, a factual briefing to the governor outlining corrective measures. Now, the commissioner's response reflects firmness without hostility, accountability without public blame. Now, this is the overall benefit, you know, for the ministry at the end of the day. The ministry resolved the salary issues without industrial action. Labor unions suspended protests. Media pressure reduces following transparent communication. Trust improves between political leaders and career officers. And internal financial controls are strengthened. It's all coming from the emotional intelligence pillar of self-awareness and the emotional intelligence pillar of self-regulation. In conclusion, these are the key self-awareness lessons from this case scenario. One, the key self-awareness lesson. One, leaders must consciously recognize personal emotional triggers such as anger, fear, or pressure to avoid impulsive decisions that can worsen organizational crisis. Two, second lesson on self-awareness. Honest reflection on one's emotions enables objective thinking. Very important, not emotional thinking. Honest reflection on one's emotions enables objective thinking and prepare leaders to respond strategically rather than react emotionally. Too powerful, just too important. Then the self-regulation lesson. The two key self-regulation lessons. One, maintaining calm communication, controlled body language, and professionalism helps create a psychologically safe environment that encourages openness, accountability, and teamwork. And this is exactly what the Commissioner of Finance in this case scenario did. As a result of his ability to control his, you know, impulsive emotions, he created a psychologically safe environment where people were open to say the truth without fear of being backlash. This is very important, you know, in the work environment in ensuring emotional stability. Then secondly, effective leaders channel emotions into decisive solution-focused actions that build trust, prevent conflict escalation, and strengthen institutional credibility. This is a very serious lesson, or two serious lessons from self-regulation. Number one, the first lesson from self-regulation in this case scenario is that maintaining calm communication, controlled body language, and professionalism helps create a psychologically safe environment that encourages openness, accountability, and teamwork. Two, effective leaders channel emotions into decisive solution-focused actions that build trust, prevent conflict escalation, and strengthen institutional credibility. Looking at this case scenario, it points to the fact that as leaders especially, we need to learn to be emotionally intelligent, and we must lay that emotional intelligence foundation with the emotional intelligence pillars of self-awareness and self-regulation. Remember, self-awareness is you having a deep understanding of how your emotions, your strengths and weaknesses affect outcome. And then self-regulation is your ability to redirect and control impulsive, emotions, so that at the end of the day, you will achieve optimal results. I believe that profound premium value have been added to you today. You may want to contact me, as many of you have been doing. My email is inuarata@gmail.com. It's right there on the screen. Call me, send your inquiries across, ask your questions, and then I provide solutions to you. And then we are able to build a better workplace for ourselves, build better organization for ourselves, and at the end of the day, build a better nation and a better world for ourselves that is seriously emotionally intelligent. I'll be seeing you next week, Wednesday. And when I return, my name will not change. It will still remain the amiable Inuarata no Sahai. Your day is so blessed. Thank you.